So I got a tip from a viewer regarding my I investigated TikTok's scariest surgeons video, and this is what they said. Hey man, I saw your video about the plastic surgeon. I got more of a lead for you. The situation is worse than you think. First of all, I am native Chinese, so I understand the captions and the clips you found about Dr. Li Feng. I googled it up in Chinese, and it led me to his Chinese website, Li Feng Facelifting, and it's misleading. They named their business in a way that sounds like they're a plastic surgery department within a legit hospital. But the truth is that they're not affiliated with anything. This is a report of them being caught injecting people with expired medicine. This is a website that shows the owner of their company is under legal trouble. My guess is they're a group of unlicensed doctors who got in big legal trouble for their practice in China, probably deep in debt and looking for some quick cash to pay for it. They got blacklisted in China, so they reached out to foreigners. Okay, wow, that was a lot served to us all at once. So I'll break each of this person's claims down to simple terms. Number 1, Dr. Feng is not affiliated with a real plastic surgery department. Number 2, Dr. Li Feng's team has been caught injecting people with expired medicine. Number 3, they are currently under legal investigation. I have my sources ready, and I'm excited to present you guys with the information that I've learned. Also, if you haven't subscribed, we're almost at 2 million subscribers. You don't have to. I'll earn your subscription by the end of this video. With that being said, let's get started with the topic. Clearing things up from part 1. So with part 1 being a massive success for the channel, thank you guys for watching that one. A lot of people had a lot of comments. So let's start with clearing up fully healed results. The TikToks all showcase about 7 days after the surgery, and they never really update us after that. There is one video on the Dr. Kim TikTok account showcasing a 30-day post-op, and that heal doesn't look bad. The comments also agree, it's not that bad. The question remains, why don't they post the fully healed results? Some people say it's rage bait. Some people think that the customer is just so dissatisfied that they never come back for another post-op checkup. But honestly, unless we interview this team of doctors, we'll never know. I do, however, question why a professional plastic surgeon like Dr. Yoon would disapprove of how they look 7 days in.
Every surgeon has to make their decision on what they think is right, and for me, no thank you.
I mean, wouldn't he know the most about the healing process? Unless he was overreacting for some TikTok clout, which I don't know the man personally, and I would hope he isn't overreacting for some TikTok clout, because that would just be extremely unprofessional. I'm gonna lean towards him being serious. Next, I saw the term ghost surgeon being commented a ton, and I had no idea what this meant, but after finding out what it means, I'm very happy you guys brought this to my attention. So, ghost surgeon is a term for underqualified workers in the medical field performing surgeries under the name of a real surgeon, who usually is involved in order to perform on more patients and make more money. Because obviously, the main doctor has to take his time performing the surgery, so the team is like, hey, why don't we pretend the main doctor is performing the surgery, but actually let some of our nurses perform it so that we can book more people and make more money, even though the main surgeon's not doing anything. He might help, but yeah, let's let our nurses take over. And I know what you're thinking. That is horrifying. Nurses aren't qualified for that. Yes, exactly. This is a scary thing. The practice is illegal in South Korea, but activists say weak regulations in the country's booming $10.7 billion plastic surgery industry have allowed factory-like clinics where unqualified staff substitute for surgeons to thrive. Doctors sometimes simultaneously conduct multiple operations, meaning they rely on substitutes who may be freshly qualified plastic surgeons, dentists, nurses, or in some cases, medical equipment salespeople to undertake some of the work for them. Under South Korean law, someone who orders or performs an unlicensed medical act is subject to a maximum punishment of 5 years in prison or a maximum fine of 50 million won, $44,000. If a ghost surgery is performed by a licensed doctor, that could lead to charges of causing harm or fraud, but these crimes are hard to prove. Many substitute doctors don't note down the work they've done, and many clinics don't have CCTV cameras. And even once the cases get to court, ghost doctors rarely get heavy penalties, which emboldens clinics to continue with the practice, lawyers say. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when they get the nurses to fill in sometimes. And apparently sometimes dentists. Imagine a dentist performing your plastic surgery. So this is the case for South Korea. We need to find out the laws pertaining this in China. According to english.gov.cn, when talking about China strengthening the regulation of beauty surgeries, such operations must be done at qualified institutions by licensed medical staff, and no organization or individual is allowed to do such businesses without due qualifications, it stressed. Ghost surgeries have led to death, with one specific story coming from South Korea. In 2016, a 24-year-old man named Kwon Dae-hee underwent jawline shaping making surgery. The procedure involved the doctor removing bone in order to complete the look of a sharp jaw. At 12:56, the plastic surgeon who was supposed to be performing the surgery enters the operating room and begins cutting Kwan's jaw. About an hour later at 1:59, that same doctor leaves the room and comes in with the ghost surgeon. They switched a couple more times, and Kwan was even left in the operating room without doctors, just nurses, for 30 minutes. At 11:27 p.m., the clinic called emergency services and Kwan was transferred to a university hospital. Sadly, Kwan died 7 weeks later. His brother described his head bandage to be seeping red. His family launched a civil case against the clinic, accusing it of negligence for failing to explain the dangers of the surgery and failing to take proper measures to save its patient. And in May of 2019, the family won damages of 430 million Korean won, which is 381,000 US dollars, based on the assumption that if Kwan had lived, he would have worked until age 65, earning the average manual worker's income. I included that story to show you guys the dangers of ghost surgeons. Do I think this is what Dr. Kim's team is doing? Possibly. And the last thing I want to clear up about part 1 is this Dr. Jae-hoon Kim account that a Spanish video claims is the Dr. Kim from TikTok. Now, this man seems to be located in South Korea, not Shanghai, China. Either he's now operating in China, Dr. Li Feng's team is impersonating him, or he's involved in some way. They couldn't have coincidentally chosen the Dr. Kim name because in older videos on that TikTok page, the watermark says Kim Jae-hoon. Okay, now that we're all caught up to speed, let's talk about Dr. Li Feng's team being under legal investigation. LiFengLapi.com. This is Dr. Li Feng's real working website. This is where he posts his plastic surgery results, which just like on the TikTok, they aren't fully healed.
头不动啊，姐来自哪里？
安徽，
今年多大了？
我3
做的额头加中下面部大拉皮，今天第几天？
8天，
说效果满意吗？姐今年多大了
50岁，
好，我们做了什么项目啊？
有点大拉皮，
那我们今天第几天了？
第7天拆线，
说效果满意吗？
很满意。
说是哪个医生做的？
李峰院长他做的真的很好。
好的，谢谢姐姐。
I mean, this just goes against the theory that they're only using this as rage bait. It seems like the 7-day results is their go-to post-op footage for anything, even on his website. This is what he's proud of. Though it's all in Chinese, I did use the Google Translate tool. In the About section, we can find their contact number and address. Keep this name in mind, Huzong Medical Beauty Clinic. Now, copy and pasting it into a search engine will lead to many results, but right now we're going to be focusing on the first one, CIOpharma.com. For context, CIO Pharma is a professional organization in China that provides third-party services throughout the pharmaceutical lifecycle. Anyway, back to clicking the first thing that pops up when you look up their address, and that in parentheses, which I'm gonna assume is their other clinic name. And why do I say other clinic name? Well, they've gone by other names, and we're gonna get to that later in the video, but it's there. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to point at that it's in his About section, so we're gonna use that as our starting point. Anyway, guess what comes up when you look that up? Well, a record regarding the use of inferior drugs by ding ding ding, Shanghai, Huzong Medical Beauty Clinic, allegedly. I'm going to be using the word allegedly a lot just to be safe. So reading through this, we would find out the following. On October 25th, 2022, law enforcers conducted an on-site inspection and found that 7 bottles of penicillin for injection and 5 bottles of glutathione for injection had expired. The client held a valid medical institution practice license. They were fined 160,000 won, which is 22,549 US dollars and 55 cents. Now, that's insane. Holding expired medicine for what reason? I'm sure all professional hospitals are required to throw out expired medicine right when they expire. But the only thing that throws me off is 1 digit. You see, it's almost the exact same address. The only thing different is that 6 is a 7 and vice versa. But for now, let's keep looking through links that pop up when you look up the Chinese version of the name. Zhuanlanzihu.com, a website showcasing a preview of a legal case studies collection written by 3 lawyers at a law firm in Beijing. Shanghai Huzong Medical Beauty Clinic Co. Ltd. is suspected of commercial bribery. Commercial bribery is when an employee of a company is selling things like, for example, let's say data records, for example, which they aren't supposed to be selling to an unrecognized entity. That would be commercial bribery, as they bribed you with money into giving them information that your company isn't selling. Again, this doesn't go into any specifics due to it being a preview. And again, I must say, allegedly. shcn.gov.cn. Huzong Medical Beauty Clinic appears on a list named Person Subject to Execution for Breach of Trust in 2022, Legal Persons. Twice, both for December 14th of 2022. Now, this website seems to be the real deal. This is the district government website in the city of Shanghai. Here's a little note from the viewer that sent in this tip. His name is Nico, but I will say you should take this with a grain of salt. I am not familiar with the Chinese credit system, but it's not like what the meme says. From my understanding, if you are being sued by someone and you have to pay them, the court might restrict you on spending your money on luxury things, such as buying a car or traveling. Now let's head on to another website that is also a result of looking up the clinic in its native language, which is obviously Chinese, qcc.com. This website is an enterprise credit inquiry system, a database to look up a company's history and other information, though we need a login to view more, as it requires a Chinese phone number to register, which neither Nico nor I have. Though we did get a little preview, and if we hover over former name, we see two names pop up: Shanghai Baihe Medical Beauty Clinic Co. in 2018 and Shanghai Xinyan Medical Beauty Clinic Co. from 2018 to 2020. Multiple name changes, huh? We can also see that they apparently have 8 administrative penalties and several red numbers next to titles such as judicial cases 149 and dishonest information 44. Now that we have these two previous names, what happens if we look up the Xinyan one, again in its native language? Well, they were allegedly sued for loan contract disputes in August of 2020, but the case was closed as the plaintiff withdrew from the lawsuit. And they were allegedly also sued that same year in a sales contract dispute, with the company's assets being frozen as a result. Perhaps this is the reason why they changed their name? I feel like I have to tell you guys again that I'm using Google Translate, so I'm reading a lot of broken English here. And it really doesn't help that for some of these websites you need an account to look deeper. And I feel like it would be kind of a pain to ask you guys on my story if you guys could help me some even more, which again, you guys do help me. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. You guys tip me a lot of good video ideas there, and I really appreciate it. And like I said in part 1, if I ever need help, I do reach out on Instagram. So now if we look up the other name, the Baihe one in Chinese, it will lead to a report from March 30th, 2016, stating that the clinic was caught by the police for buying large amounts of unauthorized drugs from Korea and Taiwan. Shanghai Baihe Medical Beauty Clinic Co., 12 people including the person in charge of the company, Sui Mu, were arrested, and more than 1,200 pieces of various beauty injections produced in Taiwan and South Korea were seized. After investigation, the criminal suspect Sai and others have rented hotel rooms as offices since 2013 to set up Hong Kong Face Barbie Biotechnology Co. and transported cross-border products from Taiwan through logistics transportation and smuggling without Chinese approval documents. Various types of beauty injections under the number are shipped to Shanghai. In addition to using related drugs to provide beauty and plastic surgery services within the company, they are also sold to Shanghai Baihe Medical Beauty Clinic Co. The total amount involved in the case was more than 3 million won. Okay, let's just take a breather. Let's take a breather real quick. Those were all of my sources that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention revolving the TikTok plastic surgeries. Now let's go back to the claims that I mentioned in the intro of this video. Is Dr. Li Feng affiliated with a real plastic surgery department? According to CIO Pharma, the client held a valid medical institution practice license. So, allegedly, yes. Actually, looking back, I meant to say allegedly no, because we don't know about the quote-unquote real department. For some reason, I thought the question was asking if he was licensed. So, yes, he's licensed, but no, it's not a quote-unquote real department that he works for. Number 2, has Dr. Li Feng's team been caught injecting people with expired medicine? No. But they have been caught being in possession of expired medicine. Maybe they have injected people with it. We don't know that. 3, are they currently under legal investigation? That is one I cannot answer. I mean, really, we don't know if the cops over in China are investigating them now. I feel like at this point, if all of these documents are true, and I wasn't just reading the broken English and got a lot of misinformation, I don't even know how they're still up and running. But it seems like they have like a slap on the wrist type of way to deal with this, at least in South Korea. I mean, we read that someone who orders or performs an unlicensed medical act is subject to a maximum punishment of 5 years in prison or a maximum fine of $44,000. Like, that is horrible. And again, do I think that Dr. Kim is running some sort of ghost surgeon operation here? I'm not gonna answer that one. Allegedly, I don't know. No, I really don't know. The reason I can't really give you guys a solid answer is because the dates of the post-operation videos on his website were all posted around the same day, couple of days. I just don't know. It doesn't say like, I finished the surgery today and we're posting it today. I don't know the time frame of each of his surgeries. But what did we learn here, guys? Never get a plastic surgery that's promoted to you on TikTok. How about that one? I was gonna say never go to China for plastic surgery, but I feel like some people are just still gonna do it just because it's cheaper over there. Like, I'm gonna get my hairline surgery in Turkey one day. Y'all gonna see. I'm gonna vlog that. I ain't gonna lie though, I got a good hairline. Like, I know I got a widow's peak, but like, I got a pretty healthy hairline. What y'all think? Anyway, let's head on to the outro. I do want to give a huge shout out to Nico on Instagram at NNIconIcon. This video would not have been made without him, and I appreciate him so much. So make sure to go show him some love on Instagram. If you guys liked the video, make sure to actually click the like button. I hope I earned some of your guys' subscriptions. We're almost at 2 million. But yeah, music video out in a couple days on Valentine's Day. You can go click notifications on for that for the premiere. It'll premiere live on this channel. And we have new hoodies out today. There are some pictures of me and my friends looking all cute. It's a distressed hoodie. It's pretty nice quality. If you want to check that out, go to earldoesn'texist.com. That's really it for this video. I'll see you guys next time I upload. Stream Hachiko and stop loving me.